if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those birds out of the way. I believe I could run behind you.
I can remember the league came to summer and you playing fullback up there. That's all you can wait and watch out anyway. You can pick up strong whole weight. I wanted to get and I really got into that. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling right here on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It is the second day of 2024, and the new year is not exactly what we had hoped it would be. As the Alabama Crimson Tide came up just a little short. Came up a little short in regards to the situation in the Rose Bowl. We are unfortunately having to discuss the Alabama Crimson Tide losing for the first time in many, many weeks. But we will have the conversation, and we invite you to get in on it at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. You can also send your comments, reactions, and questions in the live stream chat. You'll be able to get in on the conversation there. Since everybody pretty much took Alabama over Michigan, no one won the score prediction contest, but we will be drawing a winner from this season as the season abruptly came to an end last night. We're going to have DC Capstone Report joining us in just a moment. Of course, we have X as a part of the conversation each and every day. Reminding you that today is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. The playbook today, of course, is the good, the bad, the ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll look at turning points in the game. What's next for Bama? Those conversations and more. If you have something that you say, hey, I need to ask you this, or you want to share your thoughts and comments, please feel free. Already getting one comment on the live stream chat already. But good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing great, Martin. Good morning, X. How y'all doing?
Doing good. I would be doing better if Alabama could have got away with the victory, but they did not. But I think that maybe the college football committee got potentially some redemption yesterday, as the 1-4 went 60 minutes and some change, which means that you had, if Michigan was the best team, then you matched them up with the team that was on par. And 2 and 3 went down to the very last play of the game. And so the first time I think ever there were two very, very competitive semifinal games that had you watch until the very, very last second of regulation or into overtime. Your thoughts, DC?
Yeah, I think the committee got it right. I think it was they got a little redemption, as you said, to put the Playbook team together. Two thrilling games is what you want for the audiences to watch and be tuned in to the very end. And just so happened that our team, Alabama, came up on the short end of that overtime game. But I think it's far a viewer perspective and watching the game. They probably put the four best teams together as they could have possibly picked this year.
Absolutely. X, any comments on that before we kind of circle into this game?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the way that these games turned out, they were both exciting, thrillers. The first time we've seen anything like it, and from what I can really remember, how the game just all the way down to the end, both of them, you're talking about plays. I mean, games decided on the final play in both. It's it sucks that we were on the losing side, but great games overall.
Yeah, and of course I said that I don't consider it a good game or a great game when Alabama doesn't win. So, but from a non-Alabama standpoint, as far as just pure football, it was good. And speaking of that, DC, there's so much we can get into, but let's just kind of circle on this good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll start with the good and try to walk through it a little bit at a time. May go back and forth, but based on the content. But what do you have for the good?
Well, I think good had to be our rushing game. I think we ran the ball particularly well against the number one defense in the nation statistically, and I don't think it was. I think we didn't run the ball enough, but when we ran the ball, we took advantage of it. 170-yard rushing against this Michigan team was really good. I think they left a lot more runnings on the table, so I think the good had to be at least our running game.
X, what you have from a good?
Yeah, the good was wow. Yeah, I guess the run. I mean, I guess the run game. I mean, you think about 6 sacks in this game, most of them for 10+ yards, and you still run for 172 against the number one defense in the country. That's really the only good you can pull from this game.
Well, I would say that's the only good. That was the only, and that wasn't. I was going to say that was only consistent good. I would say that our special teams was good, and without Burnup and his punting, I don't know where we would have been. And then of course we know the field goals were Reichert was on, and kept us in the game and gave us the lead, etc. So I would say the good for me, being that I do agree with the run game with an asterisk beside it, and I'll say why in a moment. But I was communicating with you guys during the game. I said I think Burnup is our MVP if we win the game. DC.
Well, I agree with you. I think sometimes the special teams is not looked on as highly as it should be, and I agree. I think outside of most consistent was special teams. I think we did a great job. Burns probably our most improved player of the year. I mean, he came back this year, punted the ball well, and did a great job. And Riker was Mr.
Yeah, I mean the kicking game was very good as well. I'm still trying to process last night, but yeah, the kicking game was good. Burnup really flipped the field. Riker with 2 50+ yard field goals really kept Bama in it. It's really what gave us an opportunity. I mean, at the end of the day, we did have a 7-point lead with less than 5 minutes together.
Yeah, that's
of an interesting interesting and unfortunate scenario that the kicking game is probably was the most consistent part. A couple other goods I would have to throw out there would be our adjustment as we ended the first half defensively and came out in the second half. We did really good. Steele did his normal adjustments, especially after halftime, and we looked like a dominant defense. And so I would have to give the defensive play for about almost a full half, except for the last two drives of the game. After they made the adjustments, then we did unfortunately what we've done. So I would say the defensive adjustment. DC.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Steele's ability to adjust at halftime really put our defense in a great position there. I do agree, though. I think they were great until the last two drives. I think those last two drives we were very back to we had what we've done before, and I don't understand how that must have been execution. I'm assuming I don't think they changed anything defensive scheme wise. Just execution level wasn't there in the last two drives.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go to break here, come back on the other side. We'll transition. If any of you have a good that you want to highlight, you can do that. We'll switch to the bad and the ugly on the other side. We'll keep that conversation going, as well as any other angle you want to bring up on the game. We're right here listening, waiting on you to join in the conversation at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, or you can add your thoughts and comments on chat.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. What is for many of you the first drive-in of 2024 is off to a quiet start all around our region this morning. If you're making the drive-in on 2059 from Foster's through Tuscaloosa out to Cottondale, no big problems waiting for you along the way there. Posted speeds along McFarland Boulevard and from Coker, passing Orlean Wallace and down to the I-20 interchange as well. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Now is the time to make sure your boat is serviced for spring fishing with the help of PTG Outdoors, your authorized Mercury sales and service center in Northport. PTG Outdoors does service for all outboard, Yamaha, Mercury, and Suzuki motors. They sell canvas bass boats, Minn Kota trolling motors, Garmin, and Lawrence Electronics, as well as fishing tackle rods and reels. Financing is available with approved credit. PTG Outdoors, open Monday through Friday, 8 till 5, in the old L&L Marine location in Northport. Call 333-1605. Here we go. The Rose Bowl champion Alabama Crimson Tide are headed to Houston for the national championship game on Monday, January 8th. Listen to 95.3 The Bear and Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC for complete coverage. Tide 100.9's Ryan Fowler will be live in Houston. You can also join me and Alabama linebacker Christian Wheeler, along with sports director Gary Clark and Mark McGriff, for all of your pregame and postgame coverage. Our exclusive coverage on the radio and online is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, academy.com. And
are you hearing any of the spots right now?
Money, real bet, real win. Download the bet.
Okay.
On store now. Bama Crimson Tide going for
well, then for right now, we'll just stick with the phone, and I'm still troubleshooting on I'm not sure what it is because on my end, I'm seeing audio is going into the stream.
A sunny sky today, Tuscaloosa high 51. Tonight, increasingly cloudy with a low at 32. Tomorrow, cloudy and colder. Some light rain at times during the day, the high 42. And for Thursday, mostly sunny, the high 51. I'm James
about to come back.
Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 27 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your team on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaXSports. It's a Tuesday morning, post-apocalyptic Tuesday, as Alabama, for the first time in the Nick Saban era, has gone 3 years without a national title. Wow. Think about that for a second. First time without a national title. X DC, that has to be, we have to throw that out into before we transition to the bad and the ugly. We do have to throw out that this team did win a national title, an SEC title, and that they did have a great season. It came up a little short of Alabama Crimson Tide standards, but to Nick Saban's point, great season nonetheless. DC.
I agree. I agree with the great season. Won the SEC championship. A lot of doubters during the year. I think we would somewhere near that after the Florida game. And I think this team is great. Coach Saban said it was the favorite team of all time, based on the improvements they made. I think he's correct. They didn't make more improvement than any team that he had coached here at Alabama. Unfortunate that they didn't win the national championship or have a chance to even the national championship yesterday. But doesn't put a damper on the improvement the team made throughout the year.
And for those who are listening right now, unfortunately, we're having technical issues in the studio, so I apologize for echo. For those who are listening on live stream, that's because I'm having to do some things here in my studio to make things work and go out over the radio airwaves. Hopefully, we'll get that fixed before the end of the show, and I apologize. But I was not about to miss this day like we missed the post-Georgia game, DC. So I apologize. Hopefully we'll get it fixed before today, before the show is over. And hopefully if we don't get it fixed, that they'll have it all up and running by the time the rest of the guys are on the airwaves. So, but DC, when you look at this particular game, team, season, etc., did get an SEC championship. To me, that's what makes this loss bad. As I watched that game, I felt really, really bad as I watched that game. Unfortunately, somehow, after a month off, we reverted back to the week 2 offense. Your thoughts? That's the bad for me.
I think our the bad for me is our ineffective passing game. I think it's part of that reverting back. But we only have 116 yards passing, and maybe I underestimated how good his defense was. But we made no adjustment whatsoever in the pass. There were yards that he had. There were quick release, short passes, screen passes, cross the middle passes, slants. They were open. We continued to drop back into a 7-8 drop. Try to be in sack time. Make no adjustment whatsoever. And so bad for me was the passing game, lack of coaching, lack of adjustments, the lack of any type of passing game really hurt us in this game. And that's bad. I agree with you. Reverting back to early on. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how you have a month layover. You study film, and you know exactly what Michigan film. Michigan comes out and does exactly what film had done before. And we don't have a play set. We don't have a script to start with that takes advantage of the passing game, all those things. We don't stick to the run. So I think the ineffective passing game and the ineffective ability to change, adapt, overcome, just glaring in this, reverted back to some bad offensive play calling, in my opinion.
X.
Yeah, I agree with DC. The passing game / the passing game in the sense of play calling. We did one rollout in the first half on that last drive as I had 29-yard completion, and I don't think we did a true rollout again. And it just doesn't make sense. And when we did do little rollouts, but you ran it into the boundary. You ran it into the short side of the field. There were a couple times you run that play to the wide side of the field. You know, Jalen has multiple options at that point. You got the guy going across the field deep. You got the guy short. He has the ability to run. It's just like we refuse to do anything, and that's something we've done all year. I've never understood why we don't run the rollout, anything like that, the wide side of the field when you're limiting yourself, because it's not immediately there to do a dump pass. Jalen's rolling out, and he has nowhere to go because it's right there on top of you as well, and there's no room to make moves.
Yeah, when you look at it, it's pretty tough, DC, for me to understand how you could go a whole offseason. Michigan made changes, and the bad to me was we got out coached again. Another bad for me. We got out coached offensively and defensively. If you had told me Michigan made the number of miscues they made on special things, I thought we would beat them outright. But then
for us to not go all in with Jalen Milroe, it just makes zero sense to me. It's hard for me to understand that we didn't run the ball. We had 172 yards and sack yards come off the run game, right?
Right.
We had 172 yards. And we averaged probably 9 yards a carry when we ran it on the edge. We didn't – when the announcers go, this second half offense looks totally different, it was because it was. So, DC, you know, you text me and she said, I don't know if I trust Tommy Rees in OT. My trust of Tommy Rees, and everybody keeps talking about how great Tommy Rees did with the offense. He did it kicking and screaming and everything like that. And then when he had a month to go all in, he went the other way. So the ugly to me was, the bad to me was play calling. We got out coached, and we reverted back to that team. You can't tell me that for some reason, and DC, please respond. You can't for some reason when we run a offense built around Milroe's skill set, we have less penalties. We make fewer mistakes. Go back and look at mistakes in the first half, and then when we were running, like rolling them out and running him, we had fewer penalties and fewer mistakes. When we went back to dropping him back in the pocket, it came right back.
Agree 100%. I don't understand. I told you during the game I text you. I don't get calling. I don't understand what. I don't know what is Tommy Rees seeing that I'm not seeing. No, it was clear and evident to me that Alabama was in a position to take advantage of Jalen Milroe's skill set and never did that. Had him dropping back in the pocket. Where after 2 plays, we realized that it was not in our best interest to have him dropping back in the pocket that way. Roll him out. I agree with that. Never roll out to the wide side of the field and give him an open field to run. That's the threat. The defensive linebackers and the safeties having to stay back. I think he's going to throw the ball and then get 7 or 8 yards on a run on the wide side of the field. You can't do that on the short side of the field. So and then give him dedicated runs, give him opportunities to run the ball. And we didn't take advantage of any of that. Reverted back to old ways. And I agree with you. I didn't at the end. I didn't trust Tommy Reese going to overtime because I thought if it got to a shootout with Michigan as far as having a score and match their scores, we wouldn't be able to do it. That's exactly what happened.
There was so much reverting. McLaughlin, MHS 0407 says Bama got out coached and McLaughlin and Proctor were exposed. There was no help for Proctor, no tight end running back to help. And that's what I'm saying. We reverted back after a month. After a month, our first half looked exactly like Texas. Am I wrong in saying that?
No.
I mean,
not at all.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. And then in the second half, if you go back and look at the second half, if we don't mess up the snaps, we were in field goal range. If we don't fumble, we're in scoring range.
Yeah.
You're getting over my bad now. You mentioned the word snap.
You mean you're ugly?
I mean ugly.
Yeah. You said the bad. You mean the ugly? We I'm
talking about tremendously bad, all horrendous, ugly. I told y'all it was going to come back to haunt us. It was going to cost the game, and that's exactly what this did. And that's my opinion. That's got to be poor coaching and poor execution. You can't tell me after a whole year how we don't have a way to get that fixed.
Hey, listen, we're gonna talk about it on the other side because I want to give it enough time. There's quite a few uglies in there. What I want you to be thinking about, DC, before you hit the snap is, what do you do when you drop back in a pass and the other team has a more powerful pass rush and they're more aggressive than you're able to block? What do you do? I want someone to call up and tell me, what do you do when you have a team that is overly aggressive, running out of their running lanes, stunting out of their running lanes, and blitzing you? That's the question for you to come back on the other side. I want you to help me.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. What is for many of you the first drive-in of 2024 is off to a quiet start all around our region this morning. If you're making the drive-in on 2059 from Foster's through Tuscaloosa out to Cottondale, no big problems waiting for you along the way there. Posted speeds along McFarland Boulevard in from Coker, passing Orlean Wallace and down to the I-20 interchange as well. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-294-8831 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-294-8831. That's 800-294-8831. What do you have to lose? Call 800-294-8831. Again, 800-294-8831.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit Abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Hey, this is Reagan, owner of R&R Cigars, the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, located at 2703 6th Street across from the Home 2 Suite. Come down to R&R and see why we're the ultimate cigar and bourbon experience. With over 165 bourbons and 5 private barrels, our selection of bourbon is unmatched. We have the best cocktails around, and our cigar selection is legendary. Our lounge and service are world-class. Come and experience the luxury of the mansion and see why it's a world-renowned cigar and spirits destination.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. I want to thank the fine folks over at Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Billy's Cooking Restaurant open Wednesday through Sunday at 11 a.m. Wing Wednesday, Fish Friday, and Soul Food Sunday. Go check them out. Tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by. And also check them out on Facebook at Billy's Cooking LLC. Welcome back into the program. DC, I had someone that I posted a question, and I asked the question, was that the worst call you've ever seen on a final fourth down play? And initially, my answer was a resounding yes. And then as I start to look a little bit more, it seems that after I went back and reviewed the play, and then I updated the post to say, may have been a different call play based on the fact that Roberts pulled. Probably was supposed to go to the outside, and maybe Milroe panicked because of the low snap. But to me, let me see if I can throw Tommy Reese a hook, line, and sinker. I mean, not a hook, but maybe a hook and a line, not a sinker. Is it possible that we underestimate just how much Seth McLaughlin's snaps? Oh yeah, by the way, DC, I was told that I actually got questioned about my Christian values and not being a good Christian because I was analyzing Alabama's game, FYI. So I told him, I said, I don't work for Alabama, and if I'm not honest, then people won't care about my opinion if I'm just going to toe the company line. But anyway, the snaps were bad, and we said it was going to cost us eventually. But I just wonder, do we realize how much it actually impacts the game, not just in those moments? How many times, how effective can you be in an RPO, a read option, or even a passing game when you have to constantly take your eyes off the guy you're reading? The only RPO you can effectively run is a pre-read. There's some RPOs that are pre-read that you go ahead and change it from a run to a pass or a pass to a run. But if it's an RPO based on the action of a defender, or if it's a read option based on what the end does, there was one time that we had a bad snap and Jalen gave it to the running back across the formation, and had he pulled it and ran it, he would have hit his head on the goalpost. But he couldn't see that because he was looking down at the ball, and when he looks back up, he has to either give it or pull it, and he just made the safe call And that was on the play before the third down when what's the name got tackled for a loss. So did the snap not just cost us on that fourth down, but pretty much changed and impacted the entire game and season.
I agree 100%. I'm gonna go out and say it. I said at the very beginning, several games in, that unless we get that fixed, it's going to cost us a game. And I believe truly, if you take the whole totality of this game, that the inerrant snaps cost us this ball game. I think it clearly cost us. It killed several drives. Clearly, you can see that it cost us the points. But what you can't see is the nuances of the game of a quarterback and what they're supposed to be able to do pre-snap. And I don't think that Jalen Milroe had a chance in this game because of the way the snaps were. And the reason I know that is I watched all of the games. And there's, out of the four quarterbacks, not another single quarterback had to fight against his own team the way that Jalen Milroe did. In other words, they all were in sync with their centers except for Jalen Milroe. And this is not something that you can just say, well, I am sorry for that I'm having to call this out, but it should have been fixed early on. There's no way on a team with this many players that one person makes that many errors and is not replaced. There's no way. If that is the best center snap combination you have on your team, then something's wrong on a team like this. And the reason I say that is this: either you work on it to get it right, or you work so much on it that you can't get it wrong. That's what he's always said. What our coaches have always said. The number one thing that a center has to do is get the ball to the quarterback. If you cannot do that, it doesn't matter how good a communicator he is with the line. It doesn't matter how good a blocker he is, because your quarterback doesn't have the ball. Those other things don't matter. And I've said that over and over. And I believe it cost us this ball game, and it cost us a lot of the season. And you're exactly right. Jalen Milroe can't look downfield, can't keep his eyes on where to go, where to run, what to do, because he has to concentrate on so much on getting the ball that he had an ability to do that like other quarterbacks do. And it not only affects the plays that we see, the inerrant plays that roll 20 yards behind the scrimmage, it affects the plays that we don't see. What could have been had the snap been right. And that's all I'm going to say. I think it's ugly that we can't get that fixed over a full period of time, and it comes back and it costs us this ball game.
X.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that for people went back and pulled up the very first touchdown of the season. I don't know if y'all remember that, but against Middle Tennessee State, it was a snap that rolled 10 yards behind Jalen, never got off the ground, and Jalen just used his pure athleticism to bail Alabama out against a lesser opponent. You can't make those mistakes in games where the talent is on a equal playing field. You just can't. And not to just do it once, but to do it twice on a drive where you were moving it. We lose 20 yards because we can't get a snap to the quarterback's hands, or it's off to the right, or you're snapping it before the quarterback's ready. And somebody went through and said there were 25 times this season where these snaps were so that he counted as bad snaps. And there was even more that he said he could have added in that Jalen made a great job fielding the ball on.
Yeah,
so 25 times.
If he only counted 25, he must have skipped half of the season.
But he said these were the ones that Jalen could not handle. Couldn't get. But even with the ones that he could handle, it still makes total impact. It still takes your eyes off of where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to see. Like how many times have we seen Jalen it go low? It looks like the play was something else, and he just used his athleticism. He just made a play with his legs because he's talented enough. But that's the fact that 14 games into the season, and you're still having the same problems you had week one. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, and that was the part that was the hardest for me. Was the fact that we started that game off and we looked like week 2, week 3. We didn't look like the team that had just beat the number 1 team in the nation that had won 29 games in a row. And a lot of that was, to me, play calling. It's just play calling as a whole. When a team is dominating you at the line of scrimmage the way Michigan – now I want to say this. Michigan whooped our butt, okay, physically.
Yes.
Michigan looked like the more physical team. Michigan looked like the faster team. Michigan looked like the team that was the hungriest. And we played bad. And still, here's what's hurtful for me, DC. We can look at the Texas game and we can look at this game and go, we played bad in those games and we were still winning in the fourth quarter. I mean, and we could have won those games. But how can you play the 2 defensive lines that we played against Texas and now you come to Michigan and you don't run a screen, you don't run a draw, etc. Okay? You have to run a screen to slow them down. Now, I do believe one of the adjustments was made to do the quick passing game. And the problem was about 3 times Jalen pre-read the defense, and then when it was time for him to make the pass, they tricked him, and showed man, and then went to zone. And because he couldn't read it, because he read it before the snap, and then when he had to look back up after getting the back snap, he went ahead and threw what he pre-read. And I think that hurt big time. But we hadn't really said anything about defense, okay? Defense in the first half was bad for a while. And then the 4th and 2 was bad and ugly. And our red zone was atrocious, because it's the same thing that everybody does against us. If you had told me that we would still have communication issues in our secondary, DC, at this point in the season, I would have told you were crazy. And I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow, DC, but I want you to have a chance to respond. I don't think we beat Texas or Washington. I don't think. I don't think.
I agree with you. Communication in our secondary well. I'm not giving them passes either. I mean, it wasn't as should have been. What I think that Michigan did a good job of is putting us in positions where we had to communicate, changes and crosses and things.
Crosses behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
we ain't covered that guy yet.
No, and we haven't done it. We've been exposed in that area in every game. Texas did a great job of doing that. I think Michigan did a great page out Texas playbook. I agree with you. I don't know that Washington or Texas we could match up the way they call the games. Those two offensive coordinators call the games, and I don't think there's any way that our safeties, our corners, linebackers communicated cover that guy in the backfield, or the wide receiver that was getting in the backfield out of the slot. So there's pre-snap movement. We just did not communicate well and didn't play well. Our defense played good. There were times where we played bad, and those plays we were exposed to touchdowns.
All right. Well, we'll come back on the other side. We'll get your turning points in the game. We'll get your thoughts on the game. We'll get your thoughts on what's next. If you want to get in on the conversation, you're always welcome to do so. We will continue to get things going right here on your home for Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. If you're making the drive along 2059 from Skyland Boulevard out to the 359 interchange, expect an 8-minute drive there. 7 minutes on the eastbound side. McFarland Boulevard in good shape. If you're coming in from Coker up through Lurling Wallace and south to the I-20 interchange. And of course, with U of A still on semester break, traffic around campus is very light as well. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning. The drought continues across West Alabama, with the National Drought Center labeling the entire area except for Hale and Perry counties in severe drought. Those two counties are in moderate drought. While there may be showers Wednesday, a dynamic weather system this weekend should bring 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, further pushing back the dry conditions. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
All right, we're going to continue our coverage on Tuesday afternoon. We're going to recap Alabama and Michigan. Taco Casa Chicken, Salad Chick, Blue Spring Living Water, DanielMooreArt.com, Remax of Gulf Shores with Chuck Norwood, Good Works Fabrication, all starting at 2 o'clock here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Now is the time to make sure your boat is serviced for spring fishing with the help of PTG Outdoors, your authorized Mercury sales and service center in Northport. PTG Outdoors does service for all outboards and repair for Yamaha, Mercury, and Suzuki motors. They sell Camus bass boats, Minn Kota trolling motors, Humminbird, Garmin, and Lawrence Electronics, as well as fishing tackle rods and reels. Financing is available with approved credit. PTG Outdoors, open Monday through Friday, 8 till 5, in the old L&L Marine location in Northport. Call 333-1605.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team, the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9, streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports. Once again, thanks for all of the viewers and chatters who are on the live stream. Apologize for the echo, but hopefully we'll get that technical issues worked out. Be ready to roll on tomorrow. Jet Cohen saying, with the issues of snapping the ball in the shotgun formation, when you run plays from pistol or under center. Virgil Williams said, we said last week at this game we need to be all in. We had to do everything we could to get to the championship game. We had zero creativity on the offense. Not one wrinkle play, not one surprise play, not one check play, nothing fancy. And all of the other teams playing for this position had a special play. Some of them had multiple plays during the game. They did everything they had to do to win the game. Bama didn't do that. That's the bottom line. DC, I don't know if we thought we could just line up and big boy them. I don't know what we thought, but we definitely had lack creativity, imagination, etc. And we talk about bad snaps. We ain't even talking about how many that's getting the ball there. And like I said, Seth, I look at Seth and I go, not only did he, how many illegal procedures did he get yesterday? 3? 2 or 3?
2 or 3.
That changed drives. That put us behind. So many things in that game, but it's just a tough game. And Cameron Rossi said, "What did the team actually do for a month?" DC, what was your turning point in the game, and where does Alabama go next?
Well, before I say that, let me just say that I don't want to think that I'm just all Alabama here. I think Michigan played a really good game. We weren't playing against the area. They were a good defense. I didn't give them enough credit. I want to give them credit as well. But Alabama made so many mistakes. But I do think that we had an opportunity to win the game. We had to make some mistakes. I hate to say it, but my turning point of the game had to be. I say when it happens, this is going to be the thing that turns the game around. It had to be Alabama had the ball driving with 6 minutes to go, 7 minutes and 6 seconds to go. We're in their territory, and we fumble the ball. Jalen Milrow stumbles on the outside, changing hands, maybe trying to throw the ball. Not sure what he was doing, but anyway, he fumbled the ball. That's got to be turning point in the game. We keep the ball there. We run some more clock. We score. No way we have to go to overtime. We win this game with the ball in our hands. That just didn't happen.
The other part for me, though, DC, was that I know we fumbled that, but we stopped them, and then we went down and took the 7-point lead. And then we had them 4th and 2 on the 30. And if we had given up a first down, that'd been one thing. But to give up a 35-yard run and still net 25 even after the stupid block in the back, to me, that was the turning point. Because, Jalen fumbled, and I think that was going to be that triple option play. And the reason Jalen, I think, had the ball in his right hand because he was going to throw it. If you go back and look, the receiver was standing out there, and I think he was going to throw it to him, and he stumbled. Then he had to try to put it back in his right hand, and of course he didn't have it secure, and he fumbled, etc. But to me, that was one of the turning points. And what did we say all year, DC? When something bad happens to this defense, what happens? They don't handle set and change very well. They got that 4th down, and then it looked like, okay, let's just let the guys run wide open. So another set and change that didn't happen. DC, as we look at this Alabama team, disappointed as we are today, we need to understand that we did win a championship. And we came up short by our standards. Most teams would kill to be where we were, and where we were last night. We got some things to look at and work on this all season. But what do you think the biggest change that has to happen with this team in the off season?
Well, I think we got to shore up the offensive line. We've got to have a better offensive line to compete against good defenses. That's able to hold its own both pass blocking and run blocking. And I think we've got to do that. We've got to find a good offensive line. Washington's offensive line won the Joe Moore Award, and they have a great offense, but their offense doesn't run at all without a good offensive line.
DC, let me ask you this question. How dominant was our offensive line in the second half?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I mean,
I think overall we were not consistent on the offensive line.
But once again, I ask you, how much of that is the fact that we allow people to tee off on us? I think we have to improve the pass. We were not a great pass blocking team. In the pocket passing team. And when you drop back in the pocket and drop back to the same point every time, Michigan was just teeing off. They didn't get close to him when we rolled him out or moved the pocket.
Yeah, I agree. But I think it all starts with offensive line. In order to be able to run what we want to run, I believe they're going to have a very better offensive line. If we don't improve an offensive line, no matter what else we do, it's not going to make a difference.
X.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line is definitely a huge thing that Alabama needs to work on. And now the question is, you're losing your best. Well, a lot of people consider the best offensive lineman on the team. I probably would lean Booker a little bit more. But you're most likely losing Jason Latham. you didn't bench, you didn't replace, you didn't do anything with Seth McLaughlin. So who's the guy behind him now? Dalcourt's gone as well. Who's going to be the center? Who's going to be? We talked about it, and I said maybe put Kiefer at center or something. But you got to do something to fill that up. And then the offensive play calling has to. It is paramount. It is always geared towards your quarterback strength and not what you want to run because that's what you're comfortable running.
Closing thoughts, DC.
Well, I think we talked a lot of negative positives for Alabama. SEC championship, got a great recruiting class coming in. If Coach Saban makes adjustments all season with the coaching staff that needs to be made, players, good filter out who's going to be here. We got to make it to another championship team next year. Got to keep working on it and get better.
Yeah, I think we were 1 year ahead of schedule. I don't think we were expected to be where we were. Disappointing, and we did talk to good, to bad, and ugly. Unfortunately, there was more bad and ugly than good in this game, but not the season. So there's a lot to be excited about. If Alabama makes the key adjustments, Alabama will be right back in the mix, and of course, with the 12-team playoff, it makes it even more likely that Bama has a chance at another natty. Who you got next Monday?
I got Washington. I think Washington's going to win the ball game. I really like the way they compete in the game. I think they have a lot more explosive offense than Michigan.
Is that due to best coach in college football?
I think it's due to the best offensive coordinator in college football. I think we missed on that this year. That's just been our offensive coordinator.
Well, that dude he's only done anything but win at the level below, and in 2 years he took Washington to where he got them. I would say that him and his coaching staff, they're pretty good. And I got Washington. We'll talk more about that. Hey, that's DC Capstone Report. He runs with us every Tuesday. He'll be back with us next Tuesday to break down the national championship game and talk more Bama. And we'll be talking some Bama hoops as we move forward into the season. Remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, always acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide out there, everybody. Have a blessed, prosperous, and successful day. Happy New Year to all of those returning today. Roll Tide.
Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your
Sports Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide.